Hey, what's up, mortals? Zigzag here, and welcome to part 2 of What If Naruto Had a Leveling System. Just wanted to greet you guys and invite you to sit back and relax. You're in for a treat, so let's begin. Naruto opened his eyes to find himself in a weird, dark place. He was laying in a pond of muddy water. He was confused as to where he was. He picked himself up and tried to look around and find if anything stood out. Nothing, for the most part, besides the river that he was now standing in. He explored this place for a while longer. He had no idea how long he had been exploring for, but he stopped in his tracks when he came across a large cage. Behind the cage stood a giant fox with orange fur. The fox was unusual, to say the least. Besides its size, Naruto noticed that it had more than one tail. He counted the tails, and could practically feel his skin getting paler as the number kept going up and up. It stopped at 9. Oh no. There was no way that he was actually in front of the 9 tails. It was supposed to be sealed. The 4th Hokage was a sealing master. There was no way he could have messed up the sealing for the Kyuubi.
Oh, I wasn't expecting us to meet like this.
What do you mean? And where am I?
We are currently in your mindscape. And you were recently stabbed through the chest in your very first dungeon. That's a world record. Can't believe I was sealed in such a pathetic Jinchuriki.
Jinchuriki? Wait, so what Mizuki said was true then? I can't believe this. And what do you mean by stabbed through the chest? If that happened, then how am I alive talking to you?
In most circumstances, a shinobi would die from that, even if they were cared for by the best of the best when it came to medical ninjutsu. You somehow made a magical recovery, though, and completely healed the hole in your chest. We will talk again one day, but for now, it seems like you're waking up.
Wait, I have more questions! Naruto didn't have any time to finish this sentence, though, as he had woken up from what seemed like an eternal slumber. He woke up in a cold sweat and gasped for air. He looked around once again, trying to get an understanding of his surroundings. He found that he was in the hospital this time around, though. The nurses in the room with him had all been startled by him suddenly waking up. They quickly left the room to go and inform the doctors and his Jonin-sensei. It didn't take long for them to show. Kakashi was the first one to arrive, actually. He was worried about Naruto. He regretted leaving Naruto back there in that dungeon. He was careless. He thought Naruto was right behind him, but he was wrong. Extremely wrong. He should have been the last one to leave rather than Naruto. That way they could have avoided this situation. By the time Kakashi made it out of the dungeon, he turned around to see how far away Naruto was, but at that moment, his heart sank as he saw Naruto's brutal death. He didn't want to believe it. He refused to believe it, and he even tried to make his way back to Naruto into the double dungeon, but the doors closed on him. They wouldn't budge no matter how hard he tried. He still had a sliver of hope that Naruto had survived. He promised to himself to become a better sensei during this time as well. When the doors opened again, he ran into the room and saw that Naruto didn't have a hole in his chest anymore. He was confused, but happy at the same time. In an uncharacteristic moment, he hugged Naruto and cried, "Oh, you're alive! Thank goodness!" Naruto's attention wasn't even on Kakashi at that moment. He was distracted, looking at something in front of him. No one knew what he was looking at, though. From Naruto's perspective, what he saw was a blue screen, informing him of the fact that he was now a player, and it gave him a list of tasks to do. 100 push-ups? 100 sit-ups? Squats? What kind of nonsense was this? No way was he about to do that. What made it worse was that this supposed daily quest required him to also do a 10-kilometer run on top of everything else. Sure, he wanted to become Hokage and all, but did this thing just want to destroy his body right after he woke up in a hospital bed? What were they going to say if he ended up back here just hours after being released? The screen did present the threat of him being sent into a penalty zone in the event that he failed to complete these tasks. But whatever this zone could be, he doubted it was that bad. Nothing he couldn't handle. That, or it may have just been some genjutsu placed on him as payback for one of his pranks. Regardless, he wasn't about to complete that list of exercises. Naruto would soon regret this, though. He didn't really have much to do at the hospital, so he ended up just sleeping for most of the day. He tried getting in contact with the Kyuubi again, but he was unsuccessful. While all this was going on, though, there was a countdown on the screen. As the day went on, the more the clock ran down. Eventually, it turned red with the number 3 showing on it. It went to 2, there was 1 second left, and finally, it displayed the fact that Naruto had failed to complete his daily quest, and that he would be sent to the penalty zone. Naruto was immediately teleported to what seemed like a desert. The boy rubbed his head and looked around, confused as to where he was. It looked like he was in the Sand Village or something. If that were the case, though, who dragged him all the way out here, and for what reason? The pop-up screen appeared once again, but this time it was informing him of what he had gotten himself into. "Wait, this thing is real?" Naruto asked out loud. His goal was to survive here for 4 hours. A giant creature began running towards him. Naruto's face paled at what he saw. He doubted this was a genjutsu now. He didn't know that many people within the Leaf Village who knew how to make genjutsus to such an advanced level. His fear overtook him. His adrenaline was pumping. It was fight or flight, and Naruto knew for sure that he was not about to fight this thing. He ran for the hills. 4 grueling hours of running, but he managed to do it. He cheered for himself once he saw the window materialize again, and it told him that he managed to survive for those 4 hours. Naruto teleported back to the hospital, bringing some sand with him. He landed on the floor and he was breathing heavily. The window had another message being displayed for him right after. He looked up and saw that it was the same quest he neglected earlier. Never again would he do such a stupid thing. Every day Naruto had a new quest. No matter how difficult they were for his scrawny 12-year-old body, he still put in his absolute best to get through them. There were times when he felt like he was about to collapse, but pushed through, just to not be sent back to the penalty zone. He was also furthering his goal of becoming Hokage by doing these daily quests anyway, so it wasn't too bad in the end. That, and he was also getting rewards for accomplishing these daily quests. Nice. While he was in the hospital recovering, Sasuke and Sakura would visit Naruto in the hospital from time to time, informing him of what they were doing. It wasn't something they really wanted to do, but Kakashi demanded it. Naruto was given permission to leave the hospital about a week or 2 later, and he was finally free to go on missions with the rest of his team. They were doing normal D-rank missions and he was completing his daily quests. Sure, he was getting stronger and faster, but the missions were starting to get pretty boring. It was the same thing over and over again. One day, once he finished a daily quest, a key appeared in his hand. This was stranger than normal in his opinion. He never had one of these before. The screen gave him directions for where to insert the key. When he made his way over to the desired location, he was confused. There was nothing there. He scratched his head, but figured he may as well just try to insert the key into open space. He was behind a store when he jammed the key into what seemed like empty air. He was expecting nothing to happen, but a door actually appeared. It was glowing and emitted quite a bit of energy. After he stepped in, he tried to exit, but he wasn't allowed to for some reason. It was blocked. He supposed he had no choice but to go through this dungeon then. He wasn't going to enjoy this. He was shaking a little, but he forced his nerves to steel up. The memories from the last dungeon he was in flooded in, but this only made his resolve stronger. He never wanted to be that weak again. He wanted to survive and flourish in this shinobi world. The first thing Naruto encountered was a red wolf by the name of Steel-Fanged Raikan. Naruto pulled out a kunai and sliced at the beast. It only took that one attack to defeat it. he received a notification telling him he had leveled up. Neat. Whatever that meant must have been good. While traversing the dungeon, Naruto would encounter several more of these wolf-type creatures and pick up items from them. Although they weren't necessarily magical ones, it was strange, but Naruto didn't really care. He was getting experience from here, and that was all that mattered. Naruto was granted the title of Wolf Slayer by the system. He liked the sound of that. You could only imagine the look on Kiba's face if he heard that title attached to the blue-eyed boy's name. He'd freak out. Naruto snickered to himself, imagining the other boy's reaction. But he jumped back to attention when another monster tried to attack him. One last stab before the kunai was effectively useless. That was his last one too. At last he received what the system identified as a Hearthstone, so he could leave whenever he desired. He thought about it, but decided to fight the boss instead. He could feel himself becoming stronger and faster throughout the duration of this dungeon. He had leveled up quite a few times just fighting the fodder, so he could only imagine what a boost he'd get if he were to fight the boss. Naruto searched around and eventually found the boss's lair. The boss's name appeared on a screen in orange text. The name appeared to be the Swamp's Ruler. Naruto grinned and pulled out a couple of shuriken, but they didn't do much to the creature. Some of the shuriken managed to lodge themselves into the creature's body, but others simply bounced off or missed the target entirely. Naruto grunted. He'd have to fight hand-to-hand for an effective win against this creature. Naruto ran in close and zoomed right behind the monster. He was too fast for them to turn around. He found an opening in the monster's defenses, and he made sure to use it to the best of his ability. He launched himself towards the neck and began to crush its windpipe. The creature tried shaking him off, but Naruto was relentless. What seemed like an eternity turned out to only be a minute and a half of Naruto squeezing the creature's throat. But the job was done. He successfully defeated the boss of the dungeon. Naruto roared in triumph, and the rewards started flowing in afterwards. Naruto jumped up a couple of levels, but the monster also dropped something. He looked down and saw a dagger. When he picked it up and saw the description, he found out about it having a poison effect. Awesome! Naruto, being released from the hospital and having completed his dungeon, left to go meet up with Kakashi and the rest of Team 7. Apparently, they managed to convince Hiruzen to give them a C-rank mission for once. It was an escort mission. Hiruzen was hesitant in giving them the mission, though, considering the fact that there were only 3 of them at the time when they asked. But Naruto's presence gave confirmation for them to be the ones to escort some old guy by the name of Tazuna. Apparently he was a bridge builder of some kind. While escorting the bridge builder, Naruto noticed that there was something off with their location. It was sunny out and it didn't appear to have rained for the last couple of days, so why was there a puddle? Not a second later did the puzzle form into 2 shinobi from another village, who attacked the group, but Naruto dashed towards them and surprised everyone in Team 7. His speed was much faster than the last time they saw him. Just what was Naruto doing while he was in the hospital? Also, where did Naruto get that dagger? Naruto cut right below the eye of one of the ninja, emitting a strange poison. It wasn't anything they had a resistance to. Their veins began to pop and they screamed in agony before collapsing to the ground. Was he? No way. Naruto didn't have the sort of skill yet to defeat one of the brothers in one blow. But they couldn't deny what they just saw. Was this really Naruto? When they got a closer look at him, his face was beginning to show signs of becoming sharper, and he had grown about 2 inches as well. Sasuke didn't know what was going on, but he would have to watch out for Naruto's development in the future. He was showing signs of becoming a possible obstacle in the future just from this one attack. He hoped this was just a fluke. Now I'm guessing you don't want to end up like your buddy over there, so you better get to talking, right now, Naruto demanded. The now lone shinobi checked their brother's pulse. They were gone. Fear began to overtake him, and he was about to speak, but he was silenced by a sword taking off his head. A new foe had entered the arena. Thank you all for indulging yourselves in the story thus far. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, there are a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. First, we've got a primary channel called We the Celestials. We the Celestials does pretty much what we do here already, but their content is centered around the crazy world and lore of My Hero Academia. So please, check us out over there if you're feeling in the mood for a roller coaster of quirky content. We also have another relative to our channel, Anime Deep Dive. Anime Deep Dive goes deep into the facts and lore of a wide variety of anime. It's sure to expand your weeb knowledge for all kinds of series, guaranteed. I'd like to let you all know on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details will be in the description below. If you're perhaps interested in what we do here at WTC, then I would like to extend an invitation to join the team. The only caveat being that we only accept members 16 years and older to join the crew. You can find us on our Discord, which you can locate in the description below. Our Discord is an all-around fantastic place to be. Whether you're a fan or looking to join our band of misfits, all you gotta do is hit up the recruitment server and sign up for whichever category of work fulfills your interests. We're always looking for members to join us. Well, that's all for today's video. Thank you for watching and have a great day.